You've got Goldman Sachs going from zero exposure in Q1 to $418 million invested across 7 different spot Bitcoin funds.
Bitcoin is coiling up to form the biggest launchpad I've ever seen. As soon as the Fed issues rate cuts, most likely starting in September, we'll probably see some slight volatility on the days, then a big move upwards following. We know rate cuts are likely to come in September.
The question will be whether the totality of the data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks are consistent with rising confidence on inflation and maintaining a solid labor market. If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
Listen to this. Here, Bobby Zagoda, CEO of Bitstamp USA, gives his prediction as to what happens after September rate cuts. Listen to how he says crypto explodes with rate cuts. But even if we don't see rate cuts, the institutional acceptance, the institutional adoption we're seeing with crypto nowadays is staggering, and it alone will push price up.
How do you think crypto prices will change if we do in fact see a rate cut in September?
Just like any other major asset class, we'll see some increased pricing, right? Or sort of increases in pricing. So volatility associated with that. In other words, that rate cut would translate into higher confidence in the marketplace on the part of institutions and retail. And that would play out in the price and therefore the volumes running through the marketplace. At Bitstamp, we're seeing continued and steady adoption by institutions, which I believe are not as event-driven or price-driven in terms of their participation in the market, which is a great indicator once we do get a little bit better clarity.
So what's your outlook for crypto prices for the rest of the year? Do you think Bitcoin could surpass that all-time high above $73,000 reached back in March?
Well, having been in the industry for 6 years now, I've learned never to make a price prediction for Bitcoin or any of the crypto assets. But I would say that, I'm quite optimistic. It seems to be a convergence of a lot of macro factors, to your point, that in second half, and particularly in fourth quarter and first quarter 2025, may conspire to create a lot of momentum for Bitcoin price and other crypto prices. Obviously, in 2024, the first half of the year for Bitstamp, was up 60+% in terms of volume and participation across institutions and retail. And I think that momentum will carry.
So do you realize how hard institutions are buying this dip? Institutions are a huge net positive for demand. We're just seeing steady buying, as they don't care if the price is slightly up or slightly down. They're not getting into crypto for 2024 gains. Institutions are getting into crypto for 2020 decade gains, 2030 decade gains. This is a multi-decade play for them, like the internet boom of the 90s and 2000s were before. Of course, unlike the internet boom of the 90s and 2000s, which the wealth generation was primarily siloed to US accredited investors, anybody can buy the same coins that institutions are buying. So, like, for instance, do you realize how hard Goldman Sachs is going into these ETFs? Look at these numbers. It's staggering what we're seeing. Most regular people have no idea that this is happening. We continuously update you on the crypto market in a way like no other channel does. We give you an edge in the crypto markets with our daily videos. Make sure you subscribe. This makes me so bullish.
You've got Goldman Sachs going from zero exposure in Q1 to $418 million invested across 7 different spot Bitcoin funds, with more than half of its shares in BlackRock's Bitcoin Trust. HSBC, Bank of America, UBS, and Wells Fargo all took on a minimal stake in Q2. In terms of the hedge funds that are jumping in, Point72 bought $57 million worth of BlackRock's ETF, and Citadel doubled its holdings, diversifying into multiple BTC funds in the second quarter. Renaissance Technologies lifted its Bitcoin position, buying into 8 of the spot funds, and Capula Management, one of Europe's largest hedge funds, had the biggest position increase for the quarter.
This is really fascinating to me. So we did, when the spot Bitcoin ETFs launched, we saw pretty heavy flows in. Where are we at now, and how much is Ether, now that we have those spot ETFs, perhaps taking some of that activity?
So we're at around $52 billion collectively across all those U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs. That's down from the high of $60 billion. But analysts keep saying, hey, there's this imminent second wave of inflows. And that's because up till now, you had the wirehouses and asset managers largely staying on the sidelines while they did in-house due diligence looking at these spot crypto products. Then a week and a half ago, you've got Morgan Stanley unleashing its fleet of 15,000 FAs saying that, hey, you can product the products from BlackRock and Fidelity to a subset of clients. The expectation is that this will force the hand of other players. And ultimately, Morgan, that's what's been the biggest price driver this year for Bitcoin. You saw it hit its highest price ever in March of north of $73,000. And that was in the absence of interest rate cuts, which has been the biggest driver of prices in the last few years. It coincided with the influx of tens of billions of dollars into these ETFs. And to your question about the spot Ether ETFs, we've seen on certain days flows eclipsing that of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. We'll get a read on what that actually looks like in November when we get the next set of 13F filings.
And by the way, altcoins are next. Bitcoin dominance is looking toppy. Here, Pantera Capital's Cosmo Jiang shares his prediction the beginning of alt season is coming based on historical exhaustion of Bitcoin dominance. He says green shoots on altcoins will start to bear fruit.
You know, if we look at prior cycles, the reality is Bitcoin dominance usually does go up, call it 15 to 20 points from the beginning to the mid part of a cycle. And I thought Bitcoin dominance would sort of cap out earlier this year. It has not been the case. Right now, we're at 19 points-ish of Bitcoin dominance expansion. So maybe it's not so crazy relative to other cycles. And I do think we're at a point where we are closer, certainly, to longer tail tokens taking off and really outperforming. But again, this all hinges on the fundamentals of these protocols. You know, the reason I believe that it's not just based on voodoo technical math or technical chart reading, it's the fact that if we do believe that these protocols are going from tens of millions of users to billions of users over time, those tokens will be worth more over time and almost definitionally worth way more than Bitcoin, which has already grown penetration by quite a lot. I'm hopeful that these green shoots on the altcoins will start to bear fruit in the form of better fundamentals, which should translate to price action. You know, we just have to be patient and wait to see that play out.
So, what could go wrong? Well, unconfirmed reports that Kamala Harris is considering Gary Gensler for Treasury Secretary are swirling. That won't be good. What is definitely confirmed is the Democratic Party released its 2024 official platform with no mention of Bitcoin or crypto. It's not great, but of course this is the exact opposite of what Trump seems to be doing.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump owns more than $1 million in crypto. That's according to a personal financial disclosure form released yesterday, which federal candidates and office holders are required to file. The former president's disclosure included details about a crypto wallet and virtual Ethereum key holdings that Trump valued at $1 million to $5 million. Of course, Trump's public position on crypto has shifted since he first took office, when he said digital currencies were scams. This election cycle, he has embraced a hands-off approach from the government, with his campaign touting that he's building a crypto army. The change in stance came after lobbying from the industry and signs that fostering the growth of crypto was popular among a segment of Trump's base. In May, Trump's campaign started accepting crypto donations, and last month, he was the keynote speaker at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, where he proposed a strategic national crypto stockpile.
Now, political insiders like Anthony Scaramucci seem to think that Kamala will be better on crypto than Joe Biden was on crypto, but we have yet to see this play out.
The Biden administration, the economy's been strong generally during the administration. Crypto markets have been strong. And the Biden administration, while against crypto, and I don't like that stance, and I'm working alongside a group of many people to try to soften that stance, but the Biden administration respects the rule of law. They lost the court cases. Bitcoin entered the realm of getting an official ETF. And I predict that there'll be lots of progress made in cryptocurrency regulation if Vice President Harris gets elected.
And there is a push among other Democrats to pass a pro-crypto bill. Here, Senate Majority Leader Democrat Chuck Schumer.
Washington cannot just look away from crypto, stick our heads in the sand and do nothing. We cannot afford to continue to sit on the sidelines, because then we risk crypto going overseas to lowest common denominator countries, where there'll be no regulation at all. And if we get nothing done, extremists win.
One thing is for sure, things are really heating up, and we will not have these prices forever. My name is Aaron at Altcoin Daily. I'm a believer in the cryptocurrency space. If you're interested in making money in crypto, if you want a daily edge keeping you informed, make sure you subscribe to our channel, join our team. See you tomorrow. Hey, if you're going to Token 2049 in Singapore in September and you want to be a part of a great side event that we'll be a part of, we're going to be part of this. I'm going to leave a link to this in the description. Sign up for this. Join us. This is the side event to be at. Web3 with Toby and Brent. This is going to be so big and so worth it. They're not even plugging it as a side event. They're saying this is going to be the event to be at. But Token 2049 is great in general, so hopefully we see you at this.